So I'm Adrienne Mackey. I'm the founder and artistic director of Swim Pony Performing Arts. We're an experimental theater company in, no, I don't want to tell you my iCloud password, in Philadelphia. And we specialize in original works that are interactive and also performed in unusual and exciting places. And what I want to talk about is what I'm going to call making it knowable, or humanity and the infinite inanimate. And I just want to say a thanks, of course, to the National Academy of Sciences for inviting me. And before I talk a little bit about a production that my company performed in 2010, I'd like to just share a bit about me. So when I was a little kid, I used to have panic attacks about infinity. It's true, ask my mom. And that was partly because I just had this need to be able to picture this concept that was an abstraction. I really wanted this inanimate idea to be something that I could feel, something that I could get my little 10-year-old mental fingers around. And it struck me a decade later when I was in the middle of my chemistry major at Swarthmore College that went alongside my theater studies major, that I was having a lot of similar kinds of just brain-hurting moments in my quantum mechanics class. Because though I could do the math and I could get the answers right on my exams, I just couldn't feel these concepts, right? I just couldn't get my brain to know this stuff in a way that felt personal or human. And it occurred to me around this time that it was, in fact, not those electron particles, but me that had to make a shift. That if I really wanted to understand this material, I was going to have to let go of my idea of the world with the way that I initially had perceived it. And that amazing introduction about this play, R.U.R, I went back and read it as I was getting ready for this talk, and it struck me that the central question of this play is kind of a similar one, that it's asking how we as humans can understand the world and what the nature of being is and how life actually even operates. And I think it begs this question of whether or not non-human forms can help us better understand the world that we humans live in. And there are lots of ways, some of which have already been pointed out, so I'll move through this quick, that R.U.R anthropomorphizes the non-human characters, right? So humans are actually performing them, and they act by the end of the play a lot like humans. They dress like humans and they interact like humans, and they're even concerned about human things like love and their hair. This was one of my favorite quotes from the play. But the play also does a really amazing job of reminding us how we misunderstand the way that these technologies are different than we are. And as it's funny, I pulled almost the exact same picture. So robots that are actually useful in life don't look a lot like the ones in R.U.R, right? They look like this. It's almost the exact same picture, or this one. But I do think that culturally, we're kind of obsessed with beings that cross this human inanimate boundary, whether that's Cylons from Battlestar Galactica or Ash from the movie Alien, WALL-E, Terminator, Data, right? I could do this all day. So I think it's because this kind of robot or humanoid is a way for us to reckon with this expansive inanimate that surrounds us. And I think it's a way for us to contain questions about difficult concepts like sentience or technology or the cosmic scale in forms that we aren't quite so afraid to interact with. So these guys are just a bridge in stories for us to understand these systems that we're really trying to get in touch with, whether that's cultural politics that provoke terrorist attacks, or capitalistic greed that prioritizes profit over human life, or the cost of relentless consumerism on the planet, or technology's ability to create ramifications we didn't intend, or even the usefulness of human emotions when confronting the massive scale of the cosmos. I think their ability as artistic products is the fact that they can get so close to being human so that they're approachable, but they still can stay different enough than us to help us reach beyond our human perspectives. And I think that's why it's no surprise when my company decided to make a play where we wanted people to feel themselves in the context of the cosmic universal scale, we came up with this.
Greetings, hello. Acquainting may be painless. I am a cornucopia close, wide, teacher, Ontario, or saver, also jelly-minded, amiable drama. Ma. For you, my name is Ama.
So in early 2009, I came together with a creative team to make a play that evoked the feeling of the vastness of the universe, the tininess of an atom, and a tactile understanding of the 10th dimension. And the piece, Survive, began with a really simple premise, that in 1972, NASA scientists send this plaque on the Voyager out into the universe as a kind of message from humanity. And Survive imagines what would happen if the universe sent a message back. So we wanted to make a play that really helped people understand concepts but also feel them. And we wanted them to interact with characters that they could sympathize with, but did have this sense of mental stretch, trying to get people to get in touch with things that were totally unlike themselves. And we really wanted the show to feel as big as the entire universe. So we came up with an idea of a humanoid interface that was not just a body, but actually a presence that was manifest in every single thing that the audience encountered. The piece was a choose-your-own-adventure play with many sections that required the audience to pick one of several scenes, and the content in those scenes never repeated, which meant that audiences were totally free to navigate the experience, but they were aware that in choosing one part of it, they would miss another. And ultimately, there were 128 different versions of the play that you could have seen. This is a map of our set, which you can see is big. It was 20,000 square feet of space with 8 different performance areas, many of which a given audience member might never encounter if they go through the show only once. And like many robots, Ama, our 10th dimensional narrator, understood that the audience's limitations were human. And so she created break-off fractals, or aspects of herself, that helped the audience elucidate different topics. One of them was this twitchy, effeminate time traveler who we called Weave. We had a anime-inspired tap dancer named Kinetic Girl. Sand, who was a sort of Tom Waits voice, Coco Pelli, dark sense of humor traveler. And my personal favorite, not only because this is my fiance, but also because it was a great character, the gentle scientist, who is a sort of Carl Sagan meets Mr. Rogers. Ama even offered the audience a map of herself, one that unfortunately only made sense to the audience when the play was just ending. And there were even spaces in the show that were entirely devoid of performers or even performance in the traditional sense, places that you could just be to try and achieve that sense of loneliness and scale of humans in relationship to the universe. And Ama, like the robots of R.U.R, was our way of creating this human-ish interface for the audience to explore a concept. And every sound, every light, everything that the audience encountered were aspects of her, the universe, and this answer to the NASA Voyager. And our hope was that we could give them all these little pieces that they could choose themselves and later put together as a complex, cohesive whole. And while any particular person's path through that content would be unique, the overall emotional experience was the same. Slowly getting the audience to come in contact with these inanimate, human-friendly models for understanding the universe, and trying to get this thing to become knowable, and then expanding up to see if we can get them to move past the model towards what actually exists as best as we're able to understand it. So I'm going to end with just a small clip from that show, which is a taste of the way that our non-human entities made sense for us, made sense of the universe for us. And I like this clip in particular because it's actually inspired by that realization moment I had in my chemistry class about how these teeny tiny fundamental pieces work really, really differently than we do on a macroscopic scale. And we used it to show one of the most familiar of human experiences in a new way. So, over here. Can you make sure the sound's all the way up on this one?
We do this for non-comprehension. I must confess, I have been messing with my fractals once again. Now they think they are in love. The other two are just blanks. I've cleaned them out hollow, but they will be helpful.
I'm sorry.
No. Understand, I don't want to let go. What I'm trying to say is we can't touch. We can't get close.
Can't get close. Is there something wrong with you?
No.
There's something wrong with me.
No. I like you.
Okay.
It's just that when we're holding hands, like right now, we're not actually making contact.
I'm not sure I follow.
I'm not touching you. You're not touching me.
But it feels that way.
It's going to feel really good.
I think it will.
Yeah. But there's no contact. And very happy. There's a gap. It's not small. Oh.
But I take comfort in contact.
It's not in the truth.
I'm just not thinking about that.
Well, I don't want to lie. It doesn't change the fact that at that level, my atoms are pushing yours away, and yours are pushing mine away, and I'm. What does that say about our feelings of contact?
But couldn't we just try?
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
It's not like I wouldn't. It's just I thought it was fair that you know how it is.
So we're not going to touch
No,
or hold hands.
I don't think so.
Hugs, embraces, roll in the hay.
Wow, that would be nice. Nice and good.
You're repulsed by me.
Just my body. My body is repulsed by yours.
I'd still love to kiss you.
That's it. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. If you want to check us out, swimpony.org online. Awesome.